I'm Mary.
And I'm Jenny.
Couldn't get enough of our podcast?
Well, all right. Here's one more bite.
Tell us about your brand new book, Brain Spanners.
Oh yeah, thank you so much. So this was a labor of love. My own mother a few years ago was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and my father-in-law simultaneously. So all of a sudden, my personal, my research was refocused almost entirely on brain health, and I decided I didn't know quite enough about brain health to be able to write a book. So I wanted to go to my, Dr. Andrew Weil, Dr. Mehmet Oz, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, all these, powerful and very well-known doctors, and others like Dr. Daniel Amen, who's also pretty well-known, but, still a diamond in the rough kind of thing. And I collaborated with these guys. I interviewed them each for big parts of the book, respective to their, individual expertise in brain health. And then I added on that all my experiences and the work of Dr. Dale Bredesen, by the way, in reversing Alzheimer's. I mean, this guy's going to win a Nobel Prize for this stuff. He's compartmentalized these different aspects of Alzheimer's, and whether you're pro-inflammatory Alzheimer's or your toxicity Alzheimer's or your immunologically your immune system's attacked your brain. There's all these different silos, and he's addressed them. And he wrote the book, The End of Alzheimer's. I mean, that's
it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, right. And so that was the impetus, but then it was real fun to really kind of understand how many misunderstandings we had around the brain. Like up until recently, we thought that the brain was kind of static. It's grown, it's done its job by the age of about 12, 13, and then it didn't grow or do anything much after that. You just kind of degenerated. Not true. There's something called neuroplasticity and neurogenesis. And so that means your brain is always reforming, reconfiguring, unattaching and reattaching. And this is so pivotal to understand this as it relates to what we just discussed, which is managing expectations, editing your expectations, because forgetting is actually just as important as remembering. This is an effort to quote unquote forget certain negative events you don't need to retain. They're not useful. Used to be, again, millions of years ago, through our evolution, much more survivalistic to retain negative events, because what they typically meant was, you got away with not being killed in some way, shape, or form. Nowadays, it's just the news or it's, deadlines or whatever. I mean, these are the negative events that we retain and have traumatic, recycling of memories. We don't have to. And we can learn to forget around. So neuroplasticity, neurogenesis means we're always making more brain cells, in particular in the hippocampus, the area of memory centers in our brain. And this just blew my mind, and there are things you can do about it. And so there's this really wonderful neurohormone called BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor. There are things you can do to boost that. And that hormone increases neurogenesis, or new nerve fibers or new nerve cells in the brain. You can grow your brain. One of the best things is exercise, intense exercise. Another one is vitamin D, to go back to that for a second, because that boosts BDNF. Another one is saunas. Like, you can boost BDNF by getting into a very hot sauna. And a lot of research around this. Yeah, by the way, a hot sauna, half an hour, really intense heat, whether it's infrared or your standard steam sauna, is equivalent to the same amount of time cardiovascular exercise at a moderate to intense pace. And so that's amazing for your heart and brain. And so, so Brain Spanners is all about, developing a new look on. So let me ask you guys, and I'm not actually asking this rhetorically. I want a quick answer from you. What have you done for your brain today?
Oh my gosh. I you know what? I don't think I have an answer for that. Like, for first thing in the morning.
I'm running through what I did this morning. I do a little deep breathing. Is that brain?
Excellent.
No. Is it? Okay.
Absolutely.
And stretching, does that do anything?
Well, anything to increase circulation. Absolutely. So here's why it's hard.
I'm just running through my list.
Yeah, but you've already done a good job, but here's why it's difficult. So it's been entrenched in our thought process is we are taught to do things for our heart, for our weight, maybe even for our liver, for our gut, more fiber, for whatever. But the most important organ in the body is always missed out. I promise you, if you focused on the brain and eating right and sleeping right and exercising right and meditate for the brain, every other organ wins. Our focus just has to be refocused to the brain.
That is so true, because even when I said these things right now, my main focus wasn't the brain.
Right. Well, and it is. That's brain spanners. The idea is that lifespan's how many hours and days we'll clock on this planet. Health span, we're getting more familiar with that term. That's how many, hours and days we'll clock on this planet living in good health. Squaring the curve, right? Like the centenarians, people who live beyond 100, they do a lot of these things. Brain span takes it to the next level. How many years you'll live on this planet in optimal health, but with full mental faculties? Because you can be physically well and you can live a long life, but that doesn't mean you're always going to be there, so to speak, with full mental faculty and capability.
That was natural and functional medicine expert Bryce Wild.
Pretty tasty stuff, right?
Didn't catch the whole conversation? You can find Wild on Immunity on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or your favorite platform.
Don't forget to check us out on Instagram at Bits and Bytes Show, or for more at bitsandbytesshow.com.